Okay, so good evening, everyone. So we welcome you to today's machine learning series, Python Part 1 by Google Developer Student Clubs of GPREC chapter. So I'm Naga Himaja. I'm the current machine learning volunteer of GDSC. So today we will be guiding you through the machine learning series. We'll be starting off with Python today. And for those of you who couldn't attend the previous session, please go through our videos from the previous session. And let us also just quickly recap what happened in our previous class so that it will be easier for both of us to interact efficiently and effectively. So, okay, let's get started. So, in the previous class, we went through the Python. We discussed Python, what is Python and why it is used. As we discussed, it is a general purpose language. It can be used for variety different kinds of programs, and it was created by Gaido and Rassam, and it was released in the year 1991. It is an interpreted and object oriented language and also a high level programming language, which means it is easily understandable by the coder, the one who is writing the program. And the reason why it is so popular because it has got a very simple syntax which is similar to the natural language, which is English. And also Python is open source, which means anybody can use it freely. And also it is very beginner friendly. Yeah, the same thing. By beginner friendly we mean that it is easier to use because of its simple syntax, and also yeah, similar to English. And also it has got a variety of libraries and modules which makes it easier for the programmer to write the code. And yeah, these are some statistics showing how popular Python is. And as we discussed in our previous class, there are 33 keywords in Python in which we discussed in detail in the previous session. And for those who missed it out, please kindly go check it out in the previous video. We request you that. And yes, Uh, and we also discussed about the identifiers, what identifiers are. Identifiers are just the names which are given to the variables or functions. Those are not the inbuilt ones. Those are the names that we as programmers, as coders, we give those names. And how to write an identifier, it should start with an alphabet or an underscore. It can have an alphabet or an underscore or digit. And these are some examples for valid identifiers and invalid identifiers. And we also discussed about the different literals that we have. We had string literals, and the two types of string literals are single line strings and multi-line strings. And yes, and we also discussed about the numeric literals. Those are, as you can see here, integers, floating types, complex numbers. And Boolean literals, they have only true or false, and the special literals is none, which is equivalent to null that we use. Okay, so these are the different types of literals that we discussed in our previous class. And here we have the operators, the different kinds of operators that we use in Python. Those are arithmetic, comparison, logical, and bitwise. We discussed them, but we did not go in detail with them. In today's session, we will be going in detail with the arithmetic operators and also the precedence of the operators. So we will see that in today's class. And yeah, assignment operators, identity operators, and membership operators. We did not use them till now, but we will use them in the further sessions. And also, we will see how they are used and what is the purpose in today's session. And math commands, some basic math functions that we have. And yeah, some basic math, basic programming terminology. We also discussed it. It is especially for the people those who are completely new to the programming. And if there are anybody from first year, complete freshers, we also welcome you people. We have had a session already, actually two sessions. One is for the introduction, and the other one is the introduction to Python programming. So please kindly check it out, and we welcome you to the college. And yes, we also discussed about the strings. And basically how strings are declared and how they are used, but we did not discuss about the various string handling methods and the different methods that we have in strings. We will be discussing about the strings in detail in today's class. And yeah, finally we have the Python data types, which are numeric, dictionary, boolean, set, and sequence types. In numeric, it is very simple. Integers, complex and float numbers. And as I told in the previous class, we wouldn't be using complex numbers quite a bit, but it's a good practice to know them, know that there exists a data type called complex numbers. So it is a good thing to know about it. And yeah, we also saw the booleans. It's just true or false value. And we have different data types such as dictionary, sets, and in sequence tab we have three: strings, lists, and tuples. In today's session, we will be focusing more on the string types, how the strings are manipulated, and how the strings are used. I mean, how they exactly are dealt with in Python. And in the upcoming sessions, of course, we will cover the rest of the data types. So just don't worry about that. We'll go slow. And yes, that is it. It's a wrap up. I mean, from the previous session. And yes, I received many people. Many people came to me and asked about how to set up the environment in Anaconda. So before starting with today's session, I'd like to quickly tell you people how it is, how we use Anaconda. So let me launch it. It may take a while. The thing with Anaconda prompt is that you know all the IDs for Python, such as PyCharm, those who are familiar with Python programming already, I'm pretty sure you have might have heard about different IDs that exist. But for those who do not know, there are different IDs other than Jupyter Notebook, as we mentioned in the previous sessions. Like you can use many platforms, you see, like you can use PyCharm or Jupyter Notebook or Visual Studio or Spider. There are many such. Once you use the Anaconda Navigator, uh, you can get all of them in one. It's quite simple. It's easier to use. So we all usually go with this, since we have all sort of IDs present in this only. And also we can create different environments. We can set up different environments. It's basically very user friendly. It is very useful when you're trying to develop huge applications or web applications, many things. So it's quite useful. So yeah, so basically what happens is, there once you install Anaconda, you get redirected into this base thing. Okay, so you have to set up for every project. When you're developing projects, it's quite advisable to use separate environments for each project, so that the modules don't get corrupted. Okay, so it's quite advisable to use different setups, different environments. Yeah, so as you can see on the screen, this is the Anaconda Navigator. So as soon as you download the Anaconda, as soon as you install it in your PC, and when you open it, the prompt, it directs you to, as you can see here, applications on. It's the base root. Okay, so this is the basic. All your basic libraries do exist here. So this is a basic environment. So if you are developing projects, it's quite advisable to use different environments. Here you can see home and environments. You can click here, and here at the top left bottom, you can see an option called as create. Okay, so these are the different environments that I have set up for my own purposes. So here's the create option. You can just simply click on it, and here you can name your environment that you want. Like, let us say something like GDSC. Okay, I can set up something like this, and you can choose your Python if you want Python or R programming. You see, it's not only confined to Python alone. You can also use it on, R programming as well. So you can either click on this or that. It depends on your, requirement. But we are using it for Python. So yeah, let's go with Python. And you can also choose your version of Python. See, there are different versions. The older version, some people, some programs, some applications might demand the older versions. So for that, you also have the convenience to choose the Python version that you want. Okay, and you can just simply click on I'm clicking on cancel because I don't want any more right now. And yeah, and also I just wanted to show how you install different packages here. You see, you can just simply you can search here and you can download the packages. Okay. So yes, that is it about Anaconda. So this is how you do it. I hope it was clear. So yeah, this is how you here you click on all and you search for the packages and you install it. I will also show you how to install packages on Jupyter. No problem there. Okay. So yes, let's move on to today's session. Okay. So yeah, let's get going. Okay. So in today's agenda, as I've already mentioned, we'll be discussing the mathematical operators and the operator precedence. We will also be discussing what dynamic typing is about. Don't get scared. All these words look really big, but if you just look into it, it's quite simple. So just don't have to worry about it. And conditional statements, the loops, and also, as I told, strings, string methods, and slicing. This word immutability, we will come back to it when we get there, okay? And slicing and strings, we will see that directly in the Jupyter notebook. So yeah, so I think before I get into it, just let me ask you this question. I'd like to know how many of you here are from non-CSC. Just quickly answer that question, please. The reason I'm asking this question is that though you are from non-CSC people, it's if you know, I'm pretty sure all of you would have at least have the basic programming language in C, right? Like the basic arithmetic operations such as addition, subtraction. So in this session, we'll be comparing it with C programming so that it will be easier for you to understand as well. Okay, so kindly let me know how many people are from non-CSC background. Yeah, Mr. Kajawali. Okay, no issues there. So though you are from non-CSC background, it is gonna be really simple. It's much easier than C language, so don't worry about that. Okay, so plus is for addition. It is very similar to the addition that we do in C language, and subtraction is also similar to the subtraction in C. And multiplication, yes, we use the asterisk symbol, which is also again similar to the asterisk symbol that we use in C. But for the division, it is quite kind of different. In C language, what happens is when you're dividing two integers, you'll only get the quotient part. The remainder part will be, you just cut it off. You just don't include it in your answer. But it is not the same when it comes to Python. Okay, so for that, let me just show you how it works. Okay, let's go to Jupyter Notebook. We would really appreciate it if we just keep it, like interactive. I would usually like it interactive, you know. So kindly keep texting your messages in the chat box so that it'll be easier even for us to understand the audience and help you with better learning. Okay. So yes. So yeah. So this is the Jupyter prompt. Like once you click on it, you'll be redirected to the home page. It's a local host. And yes, here you can see many folders. You can create your own folders by clicking on the new. If you click on the Python 3, you'll just you will be creating a Python notebook. You can also create some terminal, and you can create your folder or text file. Your convenience. It's very user friendly. You see. So I've created this GDSC ML website. I'm sorry, folder, and yeah, this is my notebook. Okay, so here we will be seeing it. So as I told, let us directly go to the print. Okay. Now let us say some a is equal to 2, sorry, 2 plus 3. Okay. Now I'll be printing a. You get the answer 5, right? So let us simply see how all these, work. 9 minus 4, let us say. So now if we print b, we get 5. Okay. Similar to, like it's a basic math function, right? So let us say some x is equal to some 3 asterisk 2, 3 into 2. So if you print it, I'm so sorry. Okay, we got 6. Now let us see what will happen if we do something like this. My sorry to. Let's not complicate it. Let's just go with something simple. Okay. 4 by 2. It's quite obvious, right? We'll get 4 by 2 is usually 4, and we'll also get the 4. We'll also get the same answer here also, right? It's just 2. If you have noticed, see, is the font visible? Is it visible? Is it too small or something? Okay. So if you notice, 4 and 2 are integers, but the answer we got is in floating points, right? So that is the difference that we see. We'll understand this, we'll appreciate this difference quite better if we use something like this, okay? So let us say I is equal to 7 divided by 2. So usually if you, in the mathematical concepts, like when you divide something like this, when you do something like this, the remainder total, the quotient would be 3 and the remainder would be 1. So ultimately you'll get 3.5, right? But when we do the same thing in C language, we'll only get 3 as answer, because that, the remainder part will be truncated, which is not the same case when it comes to Python, you know. So 7 divided by 2, it will give you just, the exact answer, just like the normal division that we perform in mathematics, okay? Just a very simple difference between C and Python. But if you want to do something like how it happens in C, like let us say, if you want to truncate this 0.5 part, then you can do something like this. J is equal to 7. You have to do the division symbol twice, okay? Don't think it is some syntax error or something. That is how it is in, Python, okay? As you can see, it will perform the integer division, okay? You will only get the quotient. The remainder part will be truncated, okay? So that is the basic difference. That's what I was trying to convey here, okay? So yeah, the slash is for division, which is very similar to the normal division that we perform, okay? So the double asterisk symbol is used to, express the exponentiation. Like if you want to write exponents, you can use that. Again, let me go back. Okay, so here we are. Now I want to find out what I get. Oh my god, there are too many things. So let me write it this way. Okay, you don't have to write any variable. You can directly print things, something like this. So yeah, usually 2 asterisk 3 would give you 6, right? But when you're mentioning something like this, that means you're mentioning this, like 2 to the power of. When you're using double asterisk symbol, that's what it means, okay? So you'd end up with 8. Okay, pretty simple, right? So if you have noticed here, I think I mentioned it in the previous classes also. If I did not, I'm sorry about it. So yeah, you don't have to, in the print statement, you don't have to write the variable which has got some value directly. You can directly, perform some operation and print the result directly like this also. And one more feature of the Jupyter notebook is that, see, this is one of the Jupyter notebooks feature. You don't have to write the print statement. You can directly perform something like this and you'll still get the answer. But if you are doing something like this, you'll get only 9, which means the last statement which we wrote, only that will be executed and only that result will be displayed, okay? The previous results, they won't be displayed, okay? So this is one of the features of the Jupyter notebook. Sometimes it is useful, so most of the times you don't have the patience to write the entire print, and like, though it is a simple thing to do, most people don't do that. It's just, good thing to learn about things like that, okay? Okay, so moving on, we let us discuss about the, yes, modular division, another important thing. Again, very similar to C language. Okay, let's take the same example, shall we? 7 divided by 2. So when you divide 7 with 2, 1 will be our remainder, right? The basic math. Simple thing. So it will give you the remainder. Okay. So not only by 2, you can do it with any number, but I don't know why I keep using 2. It's just like kind of, I keep using it. You can try with any numbers, just keep trying with different, numbers, different combinations. Keep trying, you'll learn a lot, okay? So, yes. So, these are the mathematical operators that we have in Python, okay? And yes, operator precedence. Okay, though I mentioned already, it's going to be a hands-on session. So I hope every one of you are ready with your Anaconda installed in your PCs and also Jupyter Notebook. Please kindly open it, keep it ready, because in the furthest things, like when we are going to discuss the strings, etc., we will be doing it hands-on. I won't be going back to the slides again and again. So kindly please make sure you are ready with your laptops open, with the laptops fully charged, and the Jupyter Notebook ready, and you totally excited. You know, just make sure you're ready with that. Okay. So yeah, this is the operator precedence. Precedence, it's just the priority given. Okay. So if your parenthesis has got the highest priority, which means any expression written inside the parenthesis will have the highest priority. You know, which means that will be executed first. Okay. And the next priority is given to the exponents, next to unary operators, next arithmetic. And even in the arithmetic operators, yeah, you can ask me this question like, come on, Himaja, arithmetic exponent also comes in the arithmetic operators. Yes, it does, but arithmetic operators, we don't have the exponent in other languages, so it's just kind of, we just put it there, like it's got a separate speciality. Okay, so yeah, in the also in the arithmetic operators, we have two levels of precedence, which is the first one would go to the multiplication, division, integer division, modular division, and the next priority goes to the, of course, addition and subtraction, and next to the bitwise shift operators, left and right shifts, and operate bitwise and XOR and OR. Okay, and in comparison, identity and membership operators, which is double equal to. I think most of you are familiar with everything till here. Here we have identity and membership operators, which is not, in, not in. Okay, stick on to that, hold on to that. We will see that. We will see how we'll see examples to that, so that you understand it better. Okay. So moving on. Okay, let us have some theoretical concepts. Just a minute. Okay, we are sorry about that. Uh, yeah, one advice that I'd like to give you is, it's a professional club, so I request all of you to just stay professional. Yeah, you can just be free enough to ask us, to reach out to us if you have any questions. We'd be really happy to help you all. But at the same time, we expect some professionalism here. So just kindly maintain that. Okay, thank you. With that, we'll be continuing the session. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, oh my god. Yes. So yeah, the dynamic typing, it may seem like a huge word. You might be scared to even just look at this word, but in reality, it's very simple. Dynamic typing is nothing but, in Python, one specialty of Python is that you do not have to declare the variables when you're using them. If you have noticed, in even okay, let me just read out the slide for you. It's dynamically typed language because you do not have to declare a variable. Dynamic typing means the type of variable is determined only during the runtime. Okay, a Python programmer do not have to declare the data type of the variable to use it. So if you have noticed, even while using the numbers, if you have noticed, I just simply written it as a is equal to 2 plus 3. I did not mention something like int int a is equal to 2 plus 3. I did not do all of that, right? I just simply went on with a is equal to 2 plus 3. So when the Python interpreter, when it runs the code, it will understand, it will evaluate 2 plus 3 first, and it checks the type. 2 and 3 are the integer data types. Its sum together is 5, which is also an integer, and that integer value is assigned to a. Okay, then it understands that the variable a, its type is int. Okay, so that is how it works. You do not have to declare anything in Python. You can just simply keep writing it. You do not have to declare the integer type. So its data type is determined when the code is executed. Okay, that is what dynamic typing means. Okay, quite simple, right? It might have seemed like it's a huge word and it has got a very huge meaning, and but in reality it's very simple. Okay, so yes, for example, if you, yeah, but one thing that we have to remember while using this, that due to strong typing, the types need to be compatible with respect to the operand when performing operations. For example, Python allows one to add an integer and a floating point number, but adding an integer to a string produces an error. You see, like if I'm trying to add some integer and a floating point number, that will still work. Okay, now let us say it has got 3.5. Okay, it works. Okay, you do not have to mention anything. It just simply works. But if I'm trying to write something like plus hello, something like this, it will throw an error, because if you're trying to write the arithmetic operate the plus with a string and an integer, it will throw an error. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind, because it will make no sense, right? Because if you think about it logically, you're adding a string to an integer to expect what? We do not get any proper output, right? It will lead to nothing. So it will throw an error. It's syntactically, it's wrong. Okay, because that gives no meaning, right? Like, come on, what does it mean to add a string to an integer? Makes no sense, right? So yeah, so you have to keep that in mind. Okay, so yes, we will go into the control statements now. Okay, let's just get over with the theory part, so that we can go with the practice part. We'll go practically. We'll do it hands on. So now I request everyone to just be ready with your Jupyter notebooks, please. Kindly make sure you have your Jupyter notebooks ready. We can start doing it. Okay. Yes. So the if statement executes a block of code if a specified condition is true. If the condition is false, then it checks for the elif block or else block and executes it. The else is only used when if there is an if block before it. Okay, so this is the syntax. If, and inside the parenthesis you write the condition, and you don't forget to mention the colon there. That is the syntax. You have to keep that in mind. Okay, so that is the then you write the block of code, and then you write the elif. Now this word elif seems unfamiliar, right? So now, okay, please kindly open your Jupyter notebooks now, please. How many of you are ready with it, by the way? How many of you are ready with your Jupyter notebooks? See, we already specified it before that everyone has to install Anaconda for the next session, right? We already made it clear, and also I made it clear this evening. So, how many of you are ready with it? Okay, I did not see any answers yet. See, unless we practice it, it is very difficult to retain this amount of information because we do not have the classes very frequently. So you need to practice along with me so that it will be easier for you to retain the information. Okay, so kindly do that. Okay, so yeah, let us consider something like this. Okay, now I'm writing a statement in the if. In this block we have 5 is greater than 4. Okay, as the syntax we do this and we write some uh, just used to it. Well, we write something like this. If 5 is greater than 4, right? Hello, folks. Something else, okay? Else, good evening, okay? Okay, now here let us understand what is happening exactly, okay? Though it may seem like, come on, Himaja, it's quite easy. 5 is greater than 4, it is true, so this one is printed. I know it's quite easy, but still, for those who do not know, let's just, go in detail. Okay, so what happens is, the control checks for the condition inside the parenthesis. Okay, inside the parenthesis we have the logical operator greater than, which is 5 is greater than 4. So it checks for it. It returns a boolean value. If the boolean value returned here is true, then the block of code written inside the if block, this one, is executed. Okay, and if not, if this becomes false, then this else, then the control directly doesn't go on print it here. Okay, it will check. Okay, first of all it will check if there is any else block. So if this statement is false, only then this else block is executed. Okay, so that's the reason. Since 5 is greater than 4, which is true, so we have the output as hello folks. But let us try something like this and print it good evening, right? Because this one was false, and that is the reason good evening was printed. When you tried this, it did not go to the good evening part because this was true, right? It will print this statement and stop. It doesn't go to the else part. It doesn't care it. Okay, unless this goes wrong, this don't be printed. Okay, now, okay, let us keep this example this way. Now a is equal to b, sorry, a is equal to 8, b is equal to 9. Okay, so now if a is greater than b, print a. Elif p is double equal to greater than a, print p. Else print equal. Okay, so now this might seem pretty simple. It is simple. So let us understand what is happening here. Okay, so I've taken a's value as 8 and b's value as 9, and we have checked the condition a is greater than b. So since 8 is not equal to, so this is showing something like this: 8 is greater than 9. It is false, right? So it will go to the next part. So this here, it might seem like a new word, but it is not. It is something that you know really well. If you know C, then you might have come across this statement, like, right? Else if. So it's like else if, like you are joining else and if together, and you get elif. Okay, that is what is happening here. Okay, so it is similar. It works similar to else if. So this condition, if this condition goes wrong, it will go to else. Like okay, this condition went wrong. Okay, let's go to next condition. Like if this condition fails, then it checks for this condition again. B is greater than A, which is true in this case, right? Like it means 9 is greater than 8. It is true, so it will print B. And if even this statement goes wrong, only then this else part is executed. Okay, so this is how it works. And one more thing, you cannot use elif or else without a prior if. Okay, like if you try to do something like this, if you try to run this, it will throw an error because invalid syntax. Why? Because it's like writing else if without a prior if. When will else be executed? When the if statement goes wrong, then it will go to the elif or else. Okay. If there is no if at all, then what are you checking the condition for? Right. So it will throw an error. So you can't use it like this. You have, when you're using else or elif, you have to use if priorly. Okay. And one more thing, if you have noticed, I did not use any square brackets. I'm sorry, I did not use any flower brackets. I did not use any, semicolons to end the statement. Then how does the Python interpreter understand, what is the exact, the total if block? If I write something like this, print uh, GPREC. Okay. What else is? What else can we do? Okay. We can also print some other statement. Okay. I'm changing it for my convenience. Now, if you see, it has printed everything. Like it has printed yay, it has printed GPREC, it has printed hi. Like the interpreter understood that all these three statements belong to the same block of code. It all belong to the if block. How does that understand? How does that happen? I did not mention any flower brackets. So the reason is indentation. Okay. So when you're writing some condition and you have specified some colon like something like this, you have to maintain at least one tab space and all the statements with equal equal indentation. That gap is nothing but indentation. Okay, equal gaps, all those will come under single block of code. Okay, so that's how the Python interpreter understands that. Okay, okay, that was a simple one. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, so I hope else if else was clear to everyone. See, as I mentioned, the else is only used if there exists an if block before to check the condition. The else block is executed when its prior if condition is false. The elif is similar to else in else if in C. Okay. So yeah, again, this was condition. And one more thing, it's not like you have to only write the printf statements here. It's not that. You can also change something like this. Then a is equal to some 100. Okay. Let's do something like this. And then try to, after coming out of the block, now the print statement that I'm writing is doesn't belong to just any of these blocks. Okay, it's just a separate statement. Don't get confused. Okay, like do something like this, which means you can also change the values. Okay, you can do anything. It's not like you just simply have to write the printf statements inside it. If no, it's very similar to C language. Okay, the only difference is that syntactically there are some differences. Okay, yes. I hope it was clear to everyone. Just say yes or no, please. Okay, so next we will be moving on to the loops. Okay, so there are two types of loops in Python. For those who are completely new to programming, loops are something like, when you want to perform, when you want to execute a block of code over and over again, like for a till a condition is satisfied, as long as the condition is satisfied, or if you want to, run the block of code like over and over again, then we use loops. Okay, when you want to do a process like many times, then we use loops. Okay, so there are two types of loops. Those are while loop and for loop. So while and for also exist in C language also. So the purpose of while is we write it that whatever the block of code that is written inside while, it is executed till the condition, as long as the condition is true. Okay, the while loop is used to iterate a block of code as long as the condition stays true. Okay, whereas when it comes to for loop, yeah, it is quite similar, but the only thing is that you can execute it for like the n number of times. Okay, how do we do that? Let us see. Just a minute. Okay, so yeah, let us do this. Now let me take I is equal to 0. Okay, so now while I is less than 10, we write something like this. So yeah, this is the syntax, kindly remember. Okay, while and inside we write some condition and we end the parenthesis, and after the parenthesis we use the colon. Okay, so this is how the syntax goes. So yeah, print I. But if you simply try to execute this, it will throw error. It's not like it will throw an error. This will go on for infinite number of times. Okay, because i's value is never being changed, right? It is 0, and of course 0 is always less than 10. So I will be executed like many times. So what you have to do is you have to increment it. You have to make, oh god, I'm so used to writing that semicolon. Okay, so you have to increment it to I is equal to I plus 1. So what happens is, so it will come into the loop with i's value 0, it will be printed, and then it will be incremented to 1, then to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At 9, it will get printed, and when it comes to this line, it will become 10. And when it checks the condition again, I is less than 10, that will be false. So it will come out of the loop. Okay? So this is what happens when you are using the while loop. So now we can do the same thing using the for loop also. Let us see how. Now again I'm taking I is equal to 0 for I in range 0, comma, I'm sorry, 10. Okay, we have the same output. Like I is equal to 0 for I in range 0 to 10. Now you might get this question in your mind, what is this word range? Range is just simply, it specifies, like, the range, as the name suggests, it's the range from this number to this number. Okay, you do not have to necessarily start with 0. You can start with something like 7. You see, like whenever you are if you have to write it, let me just, don't worry, we will share the PPT and we will share the notebook, but we want all of you to execute it, because merely looking at the PPT or the code wouldn't help. It would be really beneficial if you just go on practice. So let us say n1 comma n2, then this will include n1, and the loop will iterate till the value of I is equal to into n minus 1. Okay, that means from I is equal to n1 to I is equal to n2 minus 1. Okay, the loop will go on till then. That is the reason, if you have seen, the 10 is not being printed here. That is the reason. Okay, so one more thing, if you might have noticed, we did not increment the value of I here. It automatically gets incremented in for loop. It automatically gets incremented. You do not have to do anything. Okay, and yeah, in range function, if you do not mention any prior n1 value, then by default it will take it as 0. N1 value is 0 by default unless you mention it. Okay, so I'm mentioning it. Let us check it, no problems. Okay, so that is how for loop is executed. Okay, and one more major difference in from C to Python is that in C we do have a do while loop, which is not the same case when it comes to Python. Okay, we do not have a do while loop here. You just simply have while and for. But yeah, we can implement do while using while. Let us see how. Okay, I'm always taking I. People will feel that I'm partial towards it. Let's go to H. Okay, so now H is equal to 0. While I'm taking it as, okay, now some of you might be questioning me, ki, what is wrong with me, because I'm taking an infinite loop here. Let us see what happens. Okay, print I is equal to I plus 1. I'm writing the entire same code as I wrote for while, except that here I'm, instead of taking the condition as I is less than 10, I'm by default taking it as true. Okay, so now let us see what is the change that I'm going to make. Just it's going to be one simple line of code. Now here I'll be putting like condition like this. If I is greater than or equal to 10, I'm sorry, break. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to I here. I'm sorry. I'm so used to writing it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I think I made a mistake here. I'll get back to it even I'm learning, so I'll just get back to it later. Okay. So yeah, let's move on. Yes, so that is how you use the while loop and for loop. And the reason why I stated while loop as the condition loop is that it's a conditional loop. Why I stated so is that, you see, this while loop is executed as long as the condition stays true, right? As long as this condition is true, we can do it. This loop will execute. If the condition is false, you'll come out of it. But whereas for, you see, from 0 to 10 is like 10 times of iterations, 10 iterations. So it will iterate for 10 times and then come out of the loop automatically. You do not have to write any increment or decrementing function. It will do it automatically. Okay. So yes, any questions so far? We'll be happy to answer. Anything from your side? Am I being clear? Are there any questions? Everything is just going out. Anything from your side, people? How many people are actually listening? Do you want a break or something? Am I going too fast, too slow? Okay. Okay. So in the now next I'll be going on with the strings. So at least now I want some response, please. Okay. Let us start with strings. Okay. Okay. As we discussed in the previous sessions already, we already discussed about strings in our previous session, but we did not go in detail with the strings. So in today's session, we'll be doing that. Yes. So strings are in Python are surrounded by either single quotation marks or double quotation marks. They are immutable. As I told you, just hold on to that word. We'll get back to it. Okay. It's just a quick recap to what we learned in the previous session. So don't worry about. Strings in Python are surrounded by either single quotations or double quotations. Why we use both single quotations and double quotations, we already discussed that as well. If you remember, try to recall that. We'll discuss that, however. Okay. So in single quotation, hello is same as double quotations, hello, double quotations. Okay. We can display literal with the print function directly. That's what we have been doing, till now. String is stored as an individual characters in continuous locations. The length of the string can be determined using a len. Individual letter of a string cannot be changed because the string is immutable, meaning they have left to right order sequence and cannot be changed in place. Okay. The reason for including both of that is both the double quotations and single quotations is that it allows you to embed a quote character of the other inside a string. Something like this. Night, if you want to write something like this, let's do this again. We already discussed it in our previous class, but still let us do it once again, okay? For the people those who joined just today. Now, if you want to print something like night, apostrophe s, then you need if you write it inside a single quotation, then whenever it encounters the next single quotation, that will be the end of the string for it. Okay, so it won't understand that you're trying to write an apostrophe there. It will throw a syntactical error. You see, it throws us a invalid syntax, right? So, but if you write something like this, it'll understand that you're trying to write the apostrophe, because this entire string started with double quotation. So whenever it encounters another double quotation, that's where the string ends for it. Okay, now this runs perfectly fine. Now if I want to write a statement like this is equal to, he said, I'm sorry, let me do it this way. He said, I want a break. You see, first of all, it wouldn't even understand that you're trying to write the double quotations, okay? See, as I told you before, the string started with a double quotation, and whenever it encounters the next double quotation, that will be the end of the string, okay? But when we run it, it'll again throw a syntactical error. But when you write the entire string in the single quotation, something like this, it'll understand. Okay, so this string started with a single quotation, and whenever it encounters the single quotation again, that will be the end of the string. Okay, so now I'll print the statement. Okay, that is the reason both the double quotations and single quotations are allowed. But if there comes a situation where you want to use both single and double quotations, mm, something like this. Let us write another sentence is equal to, okay, hello, she's the principal's daughter. Something like this. He said. Now, if you want the entire thing in one, you can't do it, right? Because you're using both the double quotation and the single quotations in this. So that time, what you can do is, let me show you. Wait a minute. So what I can do is, by using the double quotations, I can use the backslash, okay? So now I can write the entire thing in the strings. Okay. Now you can use something like this. See now what I have done here is, I'm using backslash double quotation to mention that double quotation is not the end of the string. I'm trying to print the double quotation. Like in C language also, when you're trying to print the enter, you can't do it directly, right? So we use backslash n, right? Escape sequences. So we are using the same thing here, okay? Print sentence. See, it works perfectly fine. Okay, so that is how it is done in Python. Much easier than other languages, right? Okay, so with that, I hope it was clear till now, because in the next part we will be going over the string handling methods and things like that. So if you're clear till now, we can move on to the next part. Or do you people want some break or something? There are 11 people watching the stream right now. So do you people want some break or something? Quick response in the chat box, please. Or am I going too fast or too slow? What is it? Okay. So since you did not respond if you wanted any break, I'll be continuing. Okay. So here I have mentioned immutable, right? The strings are immutable. And even in the when I was talking about the today's agenda, even there I told you to just hold on to the word immutability. So we'll be seeing that now, what immutability means. Okay, what immutable actually means. Yes, what is immutability? Immutability is the situation when no change is possible over time. In Python, if the value of an object is created, then it cannot be changed over time. Then it is known as immutable. Okay. Once created, the value of these objects is permanent. The strings are immutable, which means once created, the value cannot be changed. Okay, so now this might be, this might seem like, okay, okay, not needed. What is not needed? Like you do not want a break or you do not want the class? Just be specific, please. Okay, I take that as you do not need a break. Anyway, thank you for the response. Okay, so yeah. This might seem quite confusing, but if we look at some example, it's a very simple concept. It's a very easy concept. Okay, immutability means for like once you have declared something, you cannot change it. Okay, like let us take one more string. As I told you in today's class, we'll be dealing with strings totally. Okay, we won't be dealing with any other data type for now. Uh, Let us say, what do we take the date now? I'm running out of the ideas to name the variables. Oh my god. Okay, so let us say something like okay, P. This time I'm taking P. Okay, so I'm taking P as LOGPRECs. Okay, I'm sorry, why did I use it? Anyway, yeah, so P is equal to hello GPRECs. Okay, so now I can call, if you have noticed, okay, if you are familiar with Java, you might be familiar with the string handling methods as well. Okay, even if you're not familiar with Java, even if you do not have the background of it, don't worry, no issues there. Just a minute, I'll just be back. Just a minute. Sorry about that. Well, we will continue. Yes. So, what happens is, just like an array has indices, like in if you remember in C, we couldn't directly write the strings like we are writing it here. What would we do? We would store the sequence of characters in a character array in order to get a string, isn't it? That is what happens, right? So in that case, we do have some indices for the characters, right? In array, we have indexes. Index, right? You know the concept of index, right? Am I wrong? Or am I right? Anyway. So yeah, in the same way, here we have the indices, okay? The index of a string or anything, be it an array or list or tuple or anything, its index starts with 0. Okay, so the index of 0, I mean, of the string starts from 0, and at the 0th index we have h. Okay, so if you print it, it's h. If you print it's 1, it's 1. If you print, okay, I just made macro. Sorry. Yeah. So if I, yes, if I print, if I take the index, the character at the index 2, then it little return me L. Okay, something similar to that. Okay, like what you are basically trying to do, you're just taking the indices. Okay, so that is what we are doing. So instead of, now we have at index 1, we have E. So if we try to assign something else, like uh, you know instead of E, if I want capital E, if I go on try, it will throw an error. Now let me say why. Because you see, once the string is created, you know, this object P will be pointing to a memory location where this string is created and placed. Okay. So once this is created, you cannot change it, no matter what. Now, if you're trying to replace this, like if you're trying to replace this letter E with a capital E, you cannot do that in strings because it is an immutable. It is immutable. Once a memory allocation is done to something, you cannot change anything about it. Okay, so that is why it is throwing an error, because since string is immutable, you are trying to immutable. What does immutable mean? Once it is declared, you cannot change anything about it. Okay, now you're trying to change it, right? Like you're trying to oppose its natural, its nature. So it will throw an error. Okay, so you can't do something like this. Okay, it's not supported in anything. Like strings are usually immutable. Okay, immutable. So yeah, strings are immutable, which means once created, the value cannot be changed. Any particular character in a string cannot be replaced with another character, as they are immutable. Okay, so yeah, in inbuilt data types such as int, float, boolean, string, Unicode, tuples are also immutable. Okay, so these are the different immutable types that we have in Python. Okay, then you can ask me like, okay, if everything is immutable, then what are immutable? What are mutable? We do have mutable data types such as lists, dictionaries. We do have such kind of, I'm sorry, not dictionaries. We do have lists and sets. We will get back to that. We'll discuss about those later in the upcoming sessions. So don't just stick on to that, okay? For now. And yes, now we'll go to the string methods. We have different string methods, okay? Before I get into it, let me show you how many string methods are there. It may seem like, oh my god, there are like 3 slides of string methods, so many. But I just put all of these here just for your reference, so that all the string methods are at one place. It will be even easier for you to, learn them. It's not mandatory for you to, by heart each and every method. We'll be using some limited amount of methods, but it is a good practice to, learn the different types of methods exist in strings in Python. It's a good practice to learn about everything in a given language. Okay, so yes. Though it is not possible to recall everything, just try to stick on. Okay. Yes. Okay. So yeah, first we have the method capitalize, which converts the first character to uppercase. So what we will do is, I won't do everything. I've just we'll go through everything, but we will see some examples of some methods only, because those are the methods that we usually use. But it's also a good practice to learn everything, as I told. We'll go through everything, but we will only practice some. But as a as a homework, I can say, I request all of you to try every method. Just take one string. You take any string, okay? Just take one string, and try to use every method on it. How to use the methods, I'll tell you. Okay? Yeah. So the method capitalize converts the first character to uppercase. Okay, like if you have this word method only, methods only. Okay, if you're trying to call some this capitalized method on it, this M will become capital. Okay, case fold converts the string into lowercase. Okay, center returns a centered string. Count returns the number of times a specific value occurs in a string, like a specific character. The number of times it occurred in it, that number will be returned. Okay. Encode is the encoded version of string which we do not use. Ends with returns true if the string is ended with a specified value. Like you give a let us say a substring, or else let us say you give a character as an argument, and it returns a true value if that is what it is ending with. We will see the examples. Okay, don't worry. Expand tabs, says the tab size of the string. Find searches the string for a specified value and then returns the position where it was found. So what it is like is, you give a substring or you give a character. It finds the location. It finds the index number of where this particular substring or the character is present, and it will return to that index value. If just give me a quick answer, please. Like, how many of you are here from a CSC background? Like the second and third year people, how many of you here are from CSC? If you're from CSC, I can give you some example, if there are many people, or else let's not confuse the other audience. Quick answer, please. Okay, no one. No one is from CSC. Oh my god. Okay, no problem, not a problem. So yeah, in Java we do have okay, for those people, those who did not reply, okay, just saying. In Java there is a string method called as index of. This method that I was talking about, find, is similar to that. Okay, uh, let's try to execute, shall we? Okay, so let's look at this. Now what I did was p is equal to hello GPREC. This was our string. So now this is a string object. Okay, now what is object? What is the object oriented concepts? We'll get back to that also. Like now we are trying to find the location of this substring called as hello in this given main string. Okay, like where this substring is encountered in this first time where it is appearing in the given substring. So now the index of h is 0, right? Right. So the index of the first letter is returned, which is 0. Okay. Now let us try to call something like p dot find capital G. Okay. It is uncounted at the index 6. How is it? Let us count. Okay. This index is 0. This index is 1. This index is 2. This index, okay, sorry. This index is 3. Now this is 4. This space is also a character, so remember that. Okay. The space, it's index 5, and this capital G is index 6. So this character G is encountered, or it is found at the index 6. Okay, that is what is happening. Okay, that is how this method is used. Yeah. And next, format specified values in a string. We will see that. Format map, format specified values in a string again. Okay, we will see all of those. It's not very important, so relax. Index. Okay, let it be. Okay, so format specified values in a string. Yeah, index searches the string for a specified value and returns the position of where it was found. Similar to find. Okay, same thing. Okay, is_num returns true if all the characters in the string are alphanumeric. Now, hello GPREC 1, 2, 3. Now, I want to write something like this. Is the font visible? Like, is it clear? Or do I have to increase the size or something? Because it happened in the previous classes. Okay, so P dot is al num. Okay, so yeah. So here we have taken the string hello GPREC 1, 2, 3 exclamation mark. Now if we try to run the this method P dot is al num, it returns false. Why does it do so? Because the space is not an alphanumeric character, and also this exclamation mark is not an alphanumeric character. So that is the reason all the characters inside the string are not alphanumeric. That is the reason it's returning a false value. Now let us try this. Now it runs true. Now let's try giving it with the space. It's false. Okay, is that clear? So what happens is all the characters, as I told you, space is also a character, so that will also be considered as one character, which is not an either an alphabet nor a number, or an integer or a number, any numeric character. So that is the reason it returns false. But when it has got no space, is is true. Okay. So is alpha. It returns true only if and only if all the characters in the string are alphabets, which means these numbers are there, no? Even those are not allowed. P dot is alpha. It returns false. Why does it do so? Because these numbers 1, 2, 3, they are not alphabetic characters, right? They are not alphabets, so that is the reason it returns false. Okay. So now after I did this, let us try and run. It returned true. It's true now. Okay. And yes, is ASCII returns true if all the characters in the string are ASCII characters. No, now let's not go into that. Okay. Okay. Is decimal if all the characters in the string are decimals, if all of them are digits, if all of is digit is for if all the characters are strings in the string are digits. Like you see in is alpha, what we did was they all of them have to be alphabets. In each digit, what happens is you have to all the digits, I'm sorry, all the characters have to be digits. Okay, something like that. Is identifier, if the string is an identifier. Is lower returns true if all the characters in the string are in the lower case. Okay, so the is numeric is if all the strings are all the characters are numeric. Is printable if all characters in the string are printable. Is spaces returns true if all the characters in the string are white spaces. White spaces is nothing but a tab. It can be either a tab space or just a space. Okay. And is title returns true if all the string follows the rules of a title. What is the title? We will see. Is upper is like is lower. Okay. It returns true if all the characters are lower cases. Now here is upper returns true if all the characters are uppercase. Okay. Yeah, join is used to convert the elements of an iterable into a string. Yeah, and all these are not quite mostly used. They're not widely used, but as I told, it's a good practice to just look at them. Okay, it just returns a left justified version of the string. LJS, I'm sorry. Yeah, lower converts the string into a lowercase. Else strip returns a left trim version of the string. Left trim version is nothing but if you have some white spaces on your left side, that will be trimmed off. Okay. Make trans returns a translation table. Partition replace. Replace returns a string where a specified value is replaced with another specified value. Okay. Now this might give a question like how does that happen? Like you can't Strings are immutable, then how can you replace a specified character with something else? In that case, that memory will point to another location. If you want to learn more about immutability, you can reach out to me personally. I'll explain you in detail about it. Because of the time constraints, I just couldn't explain much about it. Yeah, but if you want to know more about immutability, we can do it. We can represent it in a diagrammatical manner. Then it'll be much easier to understand. Since it is online sessions, it is not quite effective even if I explain about immutability. Okay? Yeah. So R find searches the strings for a specified value and returns the last position of where it is found. Find is like, you see, find and index are similar. R find and R index are similar. Okay, it returns the last position. Now let us see. We have a string like A is equal to ABC, X, Y, R, ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4, ABC. Okay, something like this. A dot index, or if you write something like this, ABC, it will return 0. Why does it return 0? Because the string ABC, I'm sorry, the string ABC is first encountered at the 0th position. Okay, so that is the reason it is giving the 0th position. What does it mean? If you are using the method index, you see, don't get confused. What is this method? Method is nothing but just function. Okay, method is just function. In C language, we call it a function. Here we call it a method. Okay, so that is just a minor difference. Okay, yeah. So whenever you're using this method called index, so it will return the index position of the uh, place where this substring is first encountered. Okay. Now if I write it as R index, it will return 13. Why does it do so? Let us see. One. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So where is the last time ABC was found? At the index 13, right? So that index position is returned here. Understood? That is what is happening. Like how to find the index position of the middle ones? We cannot do that. Okay. So like not in with the inbuilt methods. Okay, we cannot do that using the inbuilt methods that we have. The inbuilt methods only give us the index positions of the first time it was found and the last time it was found. Okay, as I told, index and find are quite similar. See, you get the same value for find also, you get the same value for the index also. They're same. They're like exactly same. And again, R find and R index are same. See, R find is like same as R index. Okay, like it'll give you the index of the substring encountered the last time. Okay, ABC encountered twice in this string, right? Like the first time is here, the second time is here, the last time is here. So it will return the last time it is encountered, that index position. And yes, again R index. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I mentioned it here. Okay. Yeah, R split. Okay, where were we? Yeah, here we were. R just returns a right justified version of the string. R partition returns a tuple where the string is parted into 3 parts. What is a tuple? We did not discuss that yet. We will get to it. We'll think about it later. Also, this method, as I told, not every method is used quite frequently, so relax about it. Okay. R split splits the string at a specified separator and returns a list. Like, how do I say this? Okay. Let us get back to our little own example, shall we? Okay, now I want to assign to A is equal to P dot split this piece. Like what I'm mentioning now, right now is like what I'm doing here now. I'm sorry, I'm doing it. Yeah. So wherever you encounter a space, just make it into 2 parts. Okay. Like whenever you find a space, the word before that is one string, the word after that is another string, and make a group of strings like that and append it to some list called A. Okay. Okay, no issues. I don't know why it's running so long. Acha, so that is what it is. Like, not only space, you can use any, delimiter. It is called a delimiter. Like, based on which, thing you want to split the strings. Okay. Now you can not only use the space, you can also use. Yeah, it was running for so long. That is the reason. You see. So whenever there's a space, we are the word before the space is the one string, and the rest other part is another string. So we did that, and we did that using split. We gave the what did we give as a argument? We gave the space as an argument. So it gave us a list. What is a list? We will see that, but just hold on to the idea that list is like an array. Okay, list is simply like an array, but it is not homogeneous, which means it is not necessary to only store only strings or only numbers. It's not like that. It can use a combination of everything. For now, just remember that list is like array. Okay, we'll get to the details later. But if anybody comes and asks you, like, what is a list in Python? Don't say like it's like an array, but it can take different values. But just don't say that. It's not exact technical definition. And don't say that Himaja told us so. Okay? Don't land me in trouble. Okay? So yeah. Uh, we can try some other example. Hello GPREC 1, 2, 3. Now you see here there are two spaces. So I hope you understood what I'm trying to say. Okay. So like with the each space, the word before and after the space, it is like a one word. Okay. So that is what it is. I hope it was clear. The people who are listening, just say, give me a yes or no, please. If you understood, just give a yes. If you did not understand, please give a no, so that it will be even easier for me to understand you people. Kindly do that. Okay. So yeah, next is split lines. Split the string at line breaks and returns a list. Okay. As I told you, we will not be using all of this much. Starts with returns true. This string starts with a specified value. I think we dealt with this, didn't we? Okay, it's okay if we did not. Um. Okay. Uh. Just a minute. Okay. So yeah, once again, as I mentioned before, try to stay professional. Those whoever are in the in the chat, just try to stay professional. everything that we are doing here is being recorded. So yeah, just kindly remember that. Okay, it's being recorded. All these will be it all comes under the control of our college management itself. It's a the club itself is under the control of the college management. They'll take care of it. So if anything inappropriate is going on, all of that will be recorded. Everything will be traced. So kindly make sure. Okay, yeah, we will be moving on. Okay, so where are we? Okay, so starts with, right? So we were discussing the starts with. Okay, so starts with, as the name suggests, it will return a true value. Like if I'm saying that check whether, like what for the interpreter, what command I'm giving, what I'm trying to say is, like I'm trying to tell the interpreter, like check whether this particular string is starting with the character H. Okay, so if that is true, it will return a true value, or else no. Okay, so since this character the string P is starting with the character H, it will return a true value. Now if I say something like, let's check if it is starting with E, it will just say no, it's false, it's not. Okay, starts with, as the name suggests, it's used to check whether a particular string is starting with a given substring or a given character. Okay, I hope it is clear. Yeah, strip returns a trimmed version of the string. Trimmed version of the string in the sense, how do I say again? I have to. I'm literally jumping between this and that window. Anyway, so yeah, let us take b is equal to hello. B dot. Okay. So I hope you understood what I'm trying to do here. Like before the word hello, like there are many white spaces. Okay. And after the word hello, there are many white spaces. Like it's just simply waste, right? Like waste in the sense like you are they're just simply white spaces. So what happens when you are calling the method strip is that it will trim off all the white spaces before and after the string. Okay, whatever the white spaces extra there, all of those will be erased. Okay, you just simply get this. Understood? Yes. So we'll move on. Where was I again? Okay, swap case. Swap cases, lowercase become uppercase, uppercases become vice. This is quite simple. See, that is the specialty of Python. Like when you're dealing with something in Python, it's almost there in the name itself. Like, you don't have to, put much effort while remembering it. Okay. So this is my string. Now I want the capital, whatever, H is in capital, right? Now I want it in such a way that now H becomes the lowercase and O becomes the uppercase. Like what I'm trying to say is all the letters whichever are there in the lowercase, I want them in the uppercase, and the letters which are in lowercase, I want them in the uppercase. This is the same thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's how I want it. So I use this method called swap case. Okay. So as you can see, H was in the uppercase before. Now it has become lowercase, and the rest, all these three letters lowercase, become the uppercase. Same thing goes with this also. Now, don't ask me why it doesn't is not applicable to this space because it's not an alphabetical character. Just kidding. You people are smart enough. Well, so that is it. And yeah, title. I think we are repeating some things here. Yeah, upper converts the string into the uppercase, like completely uppercase. Mm, let's write it here. U U dot upper. Okay, something like this, and it will return the string in the completely uppercase. See, that is the difference between like C and Python. Like in Python, you can just simply call a method on a string, and you'll get the answer. If you want to do the same thing in the string in C, what do we have to do? Let me just like if we have to do the same thing in what do you say in C language, you have to write like a void function. have to write with some characters. Okay, it will take an hour if I just keep writing that. Okay, let's not do that. Like what you have to do in Python C language, you have to write a void function. You have to take the character array as the input, and you have to check each and every character inside that character array. You have to check whether it is there in the uppercase or lowercase. If it is there in the uppercase, then you again have to convert it into sorry, if it is already there in lowercase, then you again have to convert it to uppercase. Like you have to do it for each and every element that is present, right? But here you just have to simply write a single line of code, just like 5 words, 5 letters. I'm sorry, right? So that is why Python is very easier to do. Okay. Yeah, and Zafel fills the string with a specified number of zeros values at the beginning. Okay, which again we are not going to use. Okay. So yeah, these are the different string methods that we have. So I request all of you to just go through all of this once and try to, practice all of them so that you'll remember them. Though we will not be using all of them, as I told, and keep just repeating it again and again and again. It's a good practice to learn the different strings that are there. Okay, string methods. I mean. Okay, so now actually I wanted to continue with the string slicing. So is it okay if I continue, or do you guys want some break or something? See, I'd expect some response. Quick response, please. Okay, so shall we continue? Okay. There are no no's. Okay, just tell me if you would like me to continue, or shall we call it a day? I'm giving you an option here. Just make it fast, please. Whatever your decision is. Shall we close it? Shall we call it a day, or shall we continue? Okay. Okay, then I think okay, it's been more than an hour. It's been more than 1.5 hours. So okay, let's then call it a day. Okay, so just let's at least have a quick recap of what we learned today. Okay, and with that we'll close the session. So yeah, in today's session we started off with the mathematical operators in C. I'm sorry, in Python. Okay, so let's just have a quick recap. Yeah, we started off with the mathematical operators in Python, and we saw how they are used. Okay, and then we went on with the operator precedence. So which is very similar to C. And then we saw the what dynamic typing is. Dynamic typing means that the type of the variable is decided at the runtime. Okay. Yeah, and next we saw the control statements, how they are used, if, else, elif, and else. Elif is like very similar to else if, but the only difference is that instead of writing the word else if, we use elif. Okay, that is just the keyword. And yeah, and we also saw the loops. We saw the while loop and for loop. Yeah, and we will discuss more about for loop when we come to the lists. Okay, when we are discussing list, we will see a bit more in detail about for. And yeah, we also saw the while loop, how it works, and the block of code, yeah, and the syntax, you see. And yes, we mainly discussed about the strings in this session. We already had a brief introduction about strings in our previous session, and we discussed about the immutability, what immutable means, which means once declared, you cannot change it. And we saw the different string methods. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that is what we did. That is what we discussed in the today's class. So, any questions? If there are no questions, we can just stop it. here. If there are no questions, we can call it a day. And even for the people, those who are coming back to the video and watching it after it has streamed, it's okay. We'd really appreciate if you could join the session. And if you didn't, if you're coming back to it again, well, in case, even if you have any kind of questions, you can reach out to us. We'll be really happy to help. Okay, so I'll take it as there are no questions from any of you from your side. So then, that is it for today, people. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for listening. And now I hand over the session to Pavan Anna.
Yes, thank you, Himaja. So guys, we have planned to take another session on Monday so that we can cover Python very fast. And after covering the Python, we can dive into our main topic, that is machine learning. So as soon as we finish the Python, we can move into the topic. So we have planned to take an another online session on Monday. Okay, so probably we'll post the link in WhatsApp group today. And if you have any doubts, you can post in the WhatsApp group. And please utilize the WhatsApp group for asking doubts regarding these sessions or regarding the subject. And please don't post any publicity posters of other clubs. Okay, so please or any
Yeah,
internship opportunity links. So please don't post any of those in these groups particularly. Okay, so because these sessions and the topics what we are going to cover will all be monitored by Google. So the sessions what we are teaching you now, we will send these links of these sessions to Google. So please keep that in your mind. Okay.
yeah, and also about the attendance. I
And
don't
if you
know
have any
if
doubts regarding today's session, you can post in the chat box.
okay, and also about the attendance. Some people reached out to us regarding the why attendance is mandatory here. It's not like it's mandatory. We understand of the college timings, and it's a club activity, but still the attendance is mandatory if you want to receive a certificate by the end of the. Yeah, can you please share the PPTs? Yeah, sure. We will definitely share the PPT in the WhatsApp group, and also we may add some more things to the PPT so that you'd understand it better. We will share it soon. Okay. Yeah, and coming back to the attendance, yeah, at the end of the semester, at the end of the academic year, at some time, we will be giving out the certificates to the people who have attended more than 60% of the classes. Okay, for that, that is the reason we are asking you to join through the RSVP link. RSVP link is the link like after you have registered for the event through RSVP, you have to join it not through the YouTube links that we are sending you. You have to go to your mail, check it, and check your RSVP. There, the YouTube link will be present. If you redirect from that page, only then your attendance will be considered. So please keep that in mind. Okay, it's been happening a lot, so just kindly make sure you don't miss out the attendance. Okay, and and one more thing.
And the reason for conducting these online sessions in YouTube is that because of more number of people registered and more number of students joined these WhatsApp groups and Telegram. So we can't conduct a session with 400 students in Google Meet or any other Meet. So that's why we have conducted these in Google Meet. So hope you understand this. And if so from next time onwards, if the registrations are limited, so we'll try to conduct this session in Google Meet so that you can interact with us directly. Okay. And please maintain the attendance of 60%, so then only we'll get a course completion certificate. Okay.
Yeah, if there is anything from your side, we'd be happy to help. And if there is nothing else, we can close it for today.
And probably in the next class, we try to complete all data types. Like so today we have completed strings and numerics like integer, float, complex numbers. Okay, so these are all you are all aware with these. So from so on Monday class, we will try to complete lists, tuples and dictionaries, and the operations involved with those lists and tuples and dictionaries. Okay, so that the data types in Python. And after that, we will move to functions and then oops concept. So please try to attend these sessions. I know you will be having some exams or you will have some personal works, but please try to attend these sessions, because if you understand Python, then only you can learn machine learning. Otherwise, you can't learn machine learning. So I think you all have joined the WhatsApp group to learn machine learning, right? So this is a prerequisite for learning machine learning. So please utilize this opportunity and try to attend and try to maintain 60% attendance. And if registrations are very less, so we will try to conduct the session in Google Meet.
And also, you can, as we have been mentioning since the very beginning, you can post your doubts even in the WhatsApp groups. You can make it interactive. Kindly don't spam it with, as Pavanana told, don't spam it with the internship, messages or, publicity messages of other clubs. That's strictly restricted to the GDSC club only. Okay, we do have other groups, WhatsApp groups for publicizing such kind of messages. Okay, so just kindly restrict it to the GDC club itself and kindly post your doubts in the WhatsApp groups. Be interactive. That's ultimately at the end of the day, that's what we want. The whole sole purpose of all these clubs is to make sure that you people are, engaging with the fellow students. Okay. So that was the thing that we wanted to convey to you all people. So yeah, if that is it, we can close the session. Thank you all for attending. We'll see you in the next class.
Thank you guys. And today we will post you another link for Monday's class. So please register in that. Yeah, if you don't have any doubts, we'll stop this live session. Okay, thank you guys.